Now, the next thing I want to talk about, um, is the Farmgate and the response to this allegation, or the revelation, not allegation, the revelation by the leader of the opposition that the president has a farm. Do I have any song to play about this thing? I don't think so. Now, hold on, let me see if I put up any appropriate song to play by the hold on. Oh yes, the president had this thing yesterday, a 12-minute thing, and when it finished, when he had finished, I said this song is appropriate. Listen to this.
There are more questions than answers, pictures in my mind that will not show. There are more questions than answers, and the more I find out, the less I know. Yeah, the more I find out, the less I know. I've asked the question time and time again, why is there so little love among men? Or what is life? How do we live? What should we take and how much should we give? Oh, there are more questions than answers, pictures in my mind that will not show. There are more questions than answers, and the more I find out, the less I know. Yeah, the more I find out, the less I know.
Police.
Yeah, that was Johnny Nash. There are more questions than answers. More questions than answers. And I listen, I don't often listen to these people. It's painful. It's painful when you hear so many people speak, including the president. I don't know. I might listen to song bites and so on, but to sit down and listen to the president, I find it very, very painful. But yesterday, I said, let me listen. Let me listen to what he has to say. Thankfully, it wasn't all that long, but it was still a painful 12 minutes. Till a painful 12 minutes. And I posted something last night on social media. And let me say this. These quotes are attributed to several persons. Mark Twain, Abraham Lincoln, and the gist of it is this. One say it is better to remain silent and be thought to be a fool than to speak and to remove all doubts. it is better to remain silent and let people think you're stupid or people think that you're a fool. And when you open your mouth, you remove all the doubts because they know that you're indeed a fool. And another iteration of this says, it's better to keep your mouth shut and appear stupid than to open it and remove all doubts. That is what these two quotes said. And I saw, listen, last night that J.H. Kellal, he referred to it, he said, from a bankroller to a blackmailer. Remember, Azuddin is said to have been the person bankrolling the PPP. So now, from a bankroll of the PPP, the president is alleging blackmailing. He didn't call Azuddin Mohammed name, but he said blackmailing. I got a lot to say about this. I was doing some research, and I said it was painful to listen. But I got to thank Ronald Daniels, the attorney at law, because Ronald made a post and he highlighted certain things, and I'm going to piggyback on that to ask some pertinent questions and make some suggestions. The first thing I want to say, right? The president, as I said, in the 12 minutes, raised more questions. There were more questions than answers. I'm not going to go into it for the remainder, almost to the remainder of the period. I'm going to go into it because I think it needs analyzing. It needs analyzing. Many people have done so, Concerned, Guyanese, a lot of people do it on social media, but I believe I owe you, the speaking out student, my take on this whole thing, right? Because my take is likely to be a little different, and I'm likely to inject the policing part into it, right? So let me say this. First of all, I want to make this clear. I mean, I'm here to advise the president, but I'm saying, whoever advised the president, if at all he was advised, to go and to make that 12-minute presentation should be fired immediately because he did not do himself any justice with that. As I say, more questions that were raised than anything else. There is no way, because the president, let me understand this clearly, and this has been straightforward and honest. The president does not have the ability to ad-lib. In other words, to speak spontaneously. He ain't got the ability. So if you wanted to come and to say something, somebody should have prepared a little something, written something. You write something, make sure whatever you wrote, you did not include too many multi-syllable words because you know the president will get problem calling multi-syllable words. I know some of the cockroach will say, I just get the same problem. Me don't know president. Me don't know president. Me not been to the I thought university and so on. Me don't know doctor. So I guess I get little leeway. But I'm saying that was a disaster with a capital D. That was a disaster with a capital D. If you know the president and get the ability to go and live, he can go and talk off the top of your head. Prepare something, some little nice thing he could have get Kit Nasty Mento or one of these propagandists to prepare something. Make sure they keep it very simple in terms of the words and so on that were there. Don't use too many long, big, fancy, multi-syllable words because you can struggle if you were to do that. And let him go and let him read it. But he went there and decided that he can ad-lib and then he also that nonsense this man talk. Even talk about Pelosi declared. They like this. The Minister of Education, they talk, what the minister says, she is what should they say about y'all? Remind me what the Minister of Education is saying, right? Something utmost best. The Minister of Education spoke about utmost best because she gonna come today or tomorrow. She gonna praise all of these children what do well and so on. Hope she can tell them she's glad that they did the utmost best. So he yesterday tell you what Pelosi declared, right? They like this thing. Tell about Pelosi declared. You know, and I said, I communist work when I was a young officer and so on, a man named Larry Lewis. I always call his name. You make them type of mistake in front of Larry Lewis, he embarrass you. He embarrass you in front of everybody. So you go, you learn. Right? Let me be fair to him. He passed on. he might give you the opportunity at some stage early in the game for make a little correction. But if you come back with them green verb and thing, Larry would kill you. Larry would kill you. But here you have a president who decided that he cannot live on this matter, and he think, prepare something, let you go there and read it out. Prepare. Somebody who say no song, check your system. Laureline, check your system. Now we are hearing, all the students are hearing quite well. Prepare something, and when you prepare something, this is something I think the president they know, and many of them don't know. Because even when you prepare something and you read it, you got to read it out loud. Don't just watch it and read. You watch it and read, pronunciation and swang and bother you until you read it out loud. Read to yourself. We used to got to stand up in front of a mirror and read. As a young instructor being trained to instruct and so on, methods of instruction, you got to stand up in front of a mirror. Make sure your deportment and your deliverance are good, right? Yeah, Jason, them redundancy. But they know that. So maybe there's read through silently, but that doesn't help. You've got to read aloud. And when you read aloud, then you will realize that a word bad in you. And then you're going to make sure you break it down in syllables so you can pronounce it properly. That is what I was taught many, many years ago. So I'm passing on this information to them. I'm passing on that information to them. Now, let me move on to say, let me give you a little slack. Because I know a lot of people, or some people, don't let me get like he said most people knew of the farm. The president said most people knew of the farm. I did not know of the farm. Many persons, I'm sure, did not know of the farm. So when the president said most people knew of the farm, let me bring the police in knowledge here. Perhaps most people is an individual he's referring to. The individual name, most people. So don't assume that when the president said most people knew of the farm, he means the majority of people. You see, y'all has jumped with assumptions. But me training tell me, don't assume. So when the president said most people knew of the farm, maybe there is someone by the name of most people, someone with the name, the first name most, and the last name, or the Christian name most, and the surname people, some most people. He's not talking about the majority of people. He's not speaking about the majority of people. So don't jump to that conclusion. Do not jump to that conclusion that when the president said most people knew of the farm, that he's referring to the majority of people. Not necessarily so. Perhaps most people is somebody, an individual name, most people. So when he said most people know of the farm, is one individual he is referring to. Right? So let me move on because I'm going to come back to that same thing about people know of the farm and so on. Right? I'm going to come back to it. Now, the next thing I want to mention, let me talk about this blackmail issue. Talk about the blackmail issue. I'm going to deal with that in a while. Right? Now, I want to jump ahead. Because I somehow, this mind of mine is making a connection between what we saw there, what was revealed there, and this bill that we're telling you we must oppose vehemently, this former president's bill. I am seeing a nexus. I am seeing a link. Let me put up what is being proposed. We have here, the current arrangement is on the right. The Granger administration, when they went into office in 2015, they put in certain restrictions to this former president bill. In other words, they had they had these things. This was the PNC. This was the PPP rather. The PPP on the right. They had unlimited benefits to a former president. And then the AFC put in the capped benefits, must be capped. In the terms of water, electricity, the PPP added that there should be no limit. Taxpayers must pay for water and electricity for former president. The Granger administration capped it at $25,000 for water per month, 25,000 for water, 25,000 for electricity. They add, when it comes to the health business, medical bills, they add, you must have no limit. The Granger administration said, well, look, we can put in $200,000 per year for former president. They want no limit. So if the president get issues and he have to spend $5-6 million, how much rather, there should be no limit. They say the president, right, should pay taxes, right? They say that the president must not pay taxes. Then the president must have unlimited number of vehicles. The Granger administration come in, pass a bill to say he must get 2 vehicles maintained by the state. Then they added when it comes to office staff. They had unlimited office staff. The coalition said you get 2 paid office staff. When it comes to domestic help, they had an unlimited number. Coalition said 2 domestic help. When you come to technical staff, they say any number. Coalition said you should get no technical staff, right? And then the coalition went on to say that your benefit should stop if you are working or engage in any business. If you're working and you engage in any business, then your benefit should stop. And if you're convicted of any crime, you shouldn't get any benefit. So they're going to Parliament now to remove all those restrictions. They want to remove all the restrictions. And I'm saying this, it simply means that if this bill were to pass in its current form, there might be talk about this big mega farm that the president has. It means that the president can employ any number of staff to work on the farm, and we taxpayers have to pay. It means that the president can get any number of vehicles to fetch fowl feed, to fetch cow feed, to transport workers. That is what that is what the openness of this bill is saying. And we, the taxpayers, have to pay, notwithstanding the fact that once the president leaves office, he gets 7/8 of the salary of the current president as his bonus. Not bonus, right? He gets 7/8 monthly pension, 7/8 monthly pension. So therefore, he mustn't pay nothing. He getting 7/8, which amounts to $1 million, and he mustn't pay pension. It means that the president, the light bill at this farm, it means that the president can, all he think, you got to pay light bill. The state has to pay his light bill. That's why he pay. That now once he demits office. And I would love to know that right now, since this farm has been in operation, I would love to see the president's light bill, if at all he's paying any light bill. I would love to see that. These are the things that should demand. Is he paying for electricity? Then you have water. Same thing. President can use water for all the cow and the pool and all them type of thing. And you are saying that he mustn't pay. And I wonder if he is paying now. So, as I've said, I look at the nexus between what has been revealed and what this bill is proposing. And that is one of the reasons why we Guyanese should do everything to make sure that this bill does not pass in its current form. Imagine a president come out of office, right? President comes out of office, this man get a whole set of wealth and all sort of thing. Look at this farm, look. Look at this farm that the president get. Multi-billion-dollar farm. Multi-billion, look at this. This is the house with pool and arrangement here and so on. Look at this. Look at this. This is so indecent for you to tell people now that when this man demits office with all of this asset, he mustn't pay no tax. He must get unlimited number of employees that we, the taxpayers, have to pay for. He mustn't pay for electricity. He mustn't pay for water. How can that be reasonable? And the president made a statement aside. Let me pull it up here. I think I did make a screenshot of it. I like to look at these things, man. The president said that his conscience is clear. I think it's some a guy in a chronicle today said the president said his conscience is clear. Mr. President, in order for your conscience to be clear, you have to have a conscience. And these things that you are doing there and with the bill and all that, unconscionable. Cockroach, as we say in the country, cockroach eat out your conscience. You can't have a conscience and want to push a bill like this through for taxpayers to pay for first of all, for you to have an unlimited number of vehicles, unlimited number of security, unlimited number of aides and assistants and all that. So all these farmers and all them type of thing, based on this bill, if we were to interpret the bill as it is, all these people the taxpayers got to pay for, how can that be something? How can a man with conscience do those things when you're presiding over a country with 58% of poverty, 58% of the people below operating below poverty, and they say 40-something% abject poverty, and you sit there like a Maharaja and telling people what? You're telling people what? My conscience is clear. You ain't got no conscience. From based on what we are seeing here, what we hear, you ain't got no conscience. Because they send out all of them propagandists and the sycophants and all these people come out and say, oh, this man is a good man. This man get this farm long before he turned president. Let me address some of the things that he said yesterday. And I'm going to borrow from Ronald Daniels here. Right? I'm going to borrow from Ronald Daniels. He said most persons know about his farm. I addressed it already. He said his farm carry a huge loan. This is a man who coming out to rebut the accusations made by the leader of the opposition, the nemesis. He comes to tell us his farm carry a huge loan. And he's not giving no dollar figure. He's not going to give you any dollar figure. A huge loan. What is huge? For me, a small man, a poor man, a little 2 million, 1 million is a huge loan. But I suspect you loan got to be, when you look at this farm and so I got to be in the billions. Who gave you that type of money? Where you get the loan from? Where did you get the loan from? Then they say, hey, what you say? Ronald, I thank you because all of these things are things that you would have been writing, right? He said, his farm is not the size that Mohammed alleged. A president telling you, Mohammed said the farm is 150 acres. So he come to tell you, oh, the farm is not the size that Mohammed alleged. What is the size? What is the size of the farm? Oh my God, this, as I said, that thing there was disastrous. You come to say the farm was not the size that Mohammed alleged, and you're telling me what is the size of the farm? Bring the evidence, man. What is the size of the farm? Right? Then he goes on, he says, his farm is not valued the amount Mohammed speculated, and that he would be happy if he could get it for even 20% of what Mohammed supposed its value to be. Again, what is the value? What is the value? He ain't saying so. He's saying he's proud of his farm and his hard work. He is proud of his farm and his hard work. So the president works hard on the farm. So I wonder when he running the country. Look, I wonder who, when he running the country. He said he's working hard on the farm. I wonder how often he goes to the farm. Wonder. Then he goes on to say, here we going to tell people, the man going to tell people this is an insult. That when he goes to the farm, he will go live because he wants people to learn and to show them Mohammed's misrepresentation. Nobody want to see that. Nobody want to see the farm. We already saw the farm. We had aerial view of the farm. What we want to see is DACO. We want to see cargage. We want to see documentation. How you get the loan. We want you to tell me when you acquire the land. Because the land initially, you understand from documents that Jack Dio gave you 20 acres. And I never knew that land grows. I never knew that. I knew that if you put the crop in the land and you water the crop grows. But it looked like with this land, you throw water and the land grow. So according to Muhammad, the land has grown now from 20 acres to 150 acres. Right? So let me know you want to go live and show you don't want to see we want to see the cargage relating to the farm. The cargage relating to all them porches and all that. That is what we want to see, man. If you really want to convince people that this thing is legit and above board, show us that. And don't come to me and show me no damn declaration from the Integrity Commission, that bogus thing there. Don't come with that, because I'm going to rip it to pieces, not literally. I'm going to analyze it and bore all in it. Let me continue. Then you see everyone around the highway and all the major investors know about the farm. Who are the major investors? Hear what he says? Everyone around him on the highway and all the major investors know about the farm. Who are these people? Who are these people? Your partners? Or you talk about the major investors? Are they the banks? Let me hear them, huh? Let us hear, Mr. Brown, Mr. Farmer Brown. Let us hear, right? Then he said it is hypocrisy to allege that his farm is making huge amounts of monies, while at the same time questioning where he is getting the monies from to invest. Now, let me tell you this one. Because I see somebody pick up on this thing. I think it's Guyanese citizen or something. Your farm making, you say it's hypocrisy to allege that the farm making enough amount of money, while at the same time questioning where he is getting the money from. The question is where you get the investment from, not necessarily the return on your investment. Because before you can get profit, before you can get a return on your investment, you have to get capital to invest first. So where you get the capital from? You know, they get the old folks are, oh my line. Oh, let me rephrase that. Oh, Irfan, oh, sweet, sweet Irfan, tell me where you get the money from. Oh, Irfan, sweet Irfan, tell me where you get the money from. That is what we want to know. Where you get the capital investment from. Where you get that from. Not the profit and your return. We expect once you put in the investment, let me see all the business plan and all the model that you would have presented to a bank if you did, for them to give you a loan for this farm. Because as I know that you can't go to no bank, well, perhaps you can, because you are above the law. So you can go to a bank with no big proper plan and all them type of thing, and they're going to give you how much money you want. Perhaps that can happen. Then the man, the president said, he received messages and recordings. The message in part says, if you don't, hold on, let me turn over the page and read. If you don't end all of this madness, you're going further. The man do a little bluff thing, take out the phone and he reads something from it. You don't look like you read out the whole message. Who you got the message from? Who you got the message from? And then he said, the message disclosed matters of national security. If somebody message you something, matters of national security, what have you done? What have you done? Because I would suggest that you're talking about matters that are inimical to national security. And as the commander-in-chief, the president of the country, one would anticipate, one would expect that if you get message from some phone, matters of national security, then perhaps your defense board and the commissioner of police and all of them can get involved for track this down and to deal with it, right? He said Muhammad is a hypocrite masquerading as the conscience of the nation. Well, let me tell you this. I got time. Let me tell you this. Muhammad might be a hypocrite, right? But at this stage, I am looking at the messenger and I am inviting and encouraging the students here and all Guyanese. Forget about the messenger. Forget about the messenger. Let us listen to the message. Because as we say, if Uri come from river bottom and tell you say Patra get fever, or it could be around Patra come from river bottom and tell you get Uriga fever. You got to believe. You have got to believe. And CC, if he were here, he would have told you about the Sorpico matter, where the commission and Sorpico, the policeman, and they're going to tell you and you're going to tell you about the New South Wales, I think it was, where a lady of the night was the one who revealed information to cause a big shake-up in the police force. A lady of the night. Somebody that Sparrow will call a woman. We call her prostitute. You call her tramp. You call her whore. It's not the person. It's the message that they bring. That is what we should be concerned with. And the disappointing thing, one of the most disappointing thing about that presentation yesterday is that the president attacking Mohammed, the old-time friend. President attacking Mohammed, the old-time colleague and friend and comrade. He ain't attacking, he ain't dealing with the issues that were raised very superficially. He ain't dealing with them in any great detail. He ain't providing numbers and so on. He focusing on the messenger. And as I tell you all, many people call, oh, Mohammed this. Yeah, Mohammed, I have no doubt that Mohammed, well, let me rephrase that. Mohammed might have committed all sort of thing. The U.S. claimed that he smuggled this and that. They might emphasize this. Oh, he's a fugitive offender. He's a fugitive offender. And I say, for a man who to be so prominent around the place, to be described as a fugitive, even though Nandalal said the law so describes him. I said, well, the law and all those who describe him as such must be jackasses, man. Because how can a person be described, a person who is visible all the time? The use of the word fugitive by them defies the dictionary definition of fugitive. Any one of the dictionaries you check, they're going to tell you that that can't be a fugitive. The man cannot be a fugitive. But they're calling Esau. And I want to remind them too, and I'm going to play the tape at some other stage, that when the Mohammeds were sanctioned and their businesses were sanctioned, that the permanent secretary of the Ministry of Home Affairs, May Toussaint Thomas, was sanctioned at the same time. Let me remind you, your memory is shallow. So they're focused on Mohammed getting sanctioned. May Toussaint Thomas, who was an essential executive member of the PPP. Why is PPP? Let me try to bring it up back. Let me try. Are there a little mood this afternoon, Friday afternoon? The PPP, the pedophiles, the perverts, and the predators and corruption. PPPC, pedophiles, perverts, predators, corruption. That is what PPP in my book stands for. See, as an executive member in the PPP, what they do, when the thing skin up, they move you from Home Affairs to another ministry. She gets sanctioned, and that's what they do. And then they're going to come to tell you us other crap now. They're emphasizing, everyone, every time one of the propaganda pieces write something, they're going to tell you, Mohammed, Asudin Mohammed, the sanctioned person, sanctioned by the United States, seeking extradition. They're telling you all of that, but they're reminding you that May Toussaint Thomas gets sanctioned too. They're going to tell you that subsequent to that a senior police officer, Emnat Shah, is sanctioned by the same U.S. government as a drug trafficker. They'll not tell you that. Very selective. They're very selective. Let me move on. Then here what the president said. This is perhaps part of the most disturbing thing that the president said yesterday. Mohammed was complicit, if not guilty, of murder, kidnapping, and beating people, smuggling, and robbing Guyana. The president of Guyana, Mohammed Irfan Ali, they say he's a doctor. So let me put on the handle. President of Guyana. so-called Dr. Mohammed Irfan Ali, is saying to the Guyanese public that Azadin Mohammed, the leader of the opposition, let me read what he said, complicit, if not guilty. Man, never get charged and put before no court with this, Never get charged and put before the court. But I say he's complicit, if not guilty, of murder, kidnapping, and beating people, smuggling, and robbing. My God, a president making a statement like that. Mr. President, might I say to you that if you know, well, let me back up and say, the Constitution grants the president immunity. So the president can come and perhaps make all of these things, all of these allegations, and be comforted by the fact that nobody can charge you and sue you and all them type of thing. So you can make these wild allegations. You are the commander-in-chief. You and your party, PPPC, controlling the police, controlling SOKU, controlling all them agencies. You get this information. What have you done, or what have they done about it? That Mohammed, and that is why I said earlier, linking it back to this arrest and this opening, this reopening of this paper charge murder. Y'all watch out. Watch out. Because you want to know, is that a dog whistle? Is that a dog whistle? When the president comes to accuse the leader of the opposition of murder, kidnapping, and beating people, smuggling, and robbing Guyana. Because even when you look at the indictments in the US, some of these things are not mentioned. And even if you go further, the Guyana Constitution, which the president does not respect, talks about the presumption of innocence. And as far as I'm aware, the Azadin Mohammed has not been even charged. He must just convicted of any one of these things that the president is coming to talk about. A president of a country, I want to sink in, can go and speak to the world, because with social media now, you're only talking to his supporters and Guyanese and the Caribbean and people in the diaspora. He's speaking to the entire world, and he's claiming that the leader of the opposition, according to this quote from thing, and I trust that Ronald represented it properly, accurately. He said, complicit in, if not guilty of murder, kidnapping, and beating people, smuggling, and robbing. When were these offenses committed, Mr. President? Tell us. When and against whom? If you talk about murder, murder got to get a victim. Who did he kill? If you talk about kidnapping, got to get a victim. Who did this man kidnap? Beaten, who he beat? Well, we know the U.S. accused you of smuggling. And now again, the U.S. accused Azadin Mohammed of smuggling gold and all that thing. What did your government do? What did your government do? You're talking about being complicit? I would argue that based on the facts as revealed in the indictment, that you all would have been complicit. At least if you're not complicit, you were criminally negligent for all of these things going on under your nose. Under your nose, all of these things going on. And well, y'all ain't do nothing. You wait until the US to come. And what has happened since? I remember Nandlal coming out and said they received some file which they had passed on to the police. That is in relation to the same allegations that implicated Toussaint Thomas in corruption. And the people in that release, OFAC release, talked about other government officials. Let me remind you all, that when the OFAC released that sanction document against the Mohammeds and made Toussaint Thomas, in that same document, they claimed that other government officials were also involved in corruption. What have you done all these years to track down and to deal with those other officials? Oh, I forget, are you waiting for the US? Are you waiting on the US? And then the president took time to try to point out, oh, this indictment in the States is not the government, it's the US government. You recognize how silly he sung? You recognize how silly he sung? Because basically he's admitting that they were there and they did nothing. And I am saying, and many people have said, that they did not do nothing because they did not know. They knew, but they were all part of the thing. They were all birds of a feather. So they flocked together. F-L-O-C-K. If y'all want to change the spelling, it's up to y'all. But I'm spelling it. Birds of a feather, they F-L-O-C-K together. Right? And even when information has been passed on, as they claim, what have they done to those forces who will have been named? What have you done to investigate who are the other government officials the U.S. referred to in that sanction document? Who? Tell us who. Tell us who. But again, to hear the president making them statement there. Thing. Let me tell you further. Because it was back in 2013. Because I see they're coming up now, they're coming up and they're talking about this little youth man who was killed across the river. Remember, the other matter, I can't remember his name now, where it is alleged that the Mormons and the security people were doing some firearm training practice somewhere on the East Bank, and it's alleged that a bullet traveled all the way across the river and killed, I think it was a 15-year-old boy. Right? 15-year-old boy. I can tell you this because I did some inquiry. You know that they're trying to say was Paul Slow, who Ryan Prasad, thank you, Sean. They were saying that I aided and assisted in the covering up of this thing. This thing happened in 2013. I retired from the force on the 1st of August 2010. 2013, I've been traveling, enjoying myself all over the world with cricket, right? And a man who was involved in the investigation met me sometime after when he saw them attaching my name to this thing. And the man said, Mr. Slow, I was one of the investigators. This matter was investigated by the CID at Lagrange Police Station, Lagrange, West Bank, Demerara. The man said, and the Silal Prasad was the commissioner, was the crime chief, and Leroy Brummel was the commissioner of police. And he said that Silal Prasad sent for the file into this matter, where they were investigating the death of this youth, this 15-year-old youth, where it was alleged that it resulted in gunshot wounds, gunshot fired from across the river on the east bank of Demerara, travel and kill, a power rifle travel and kill. The man said, I carry this file to the crime chief when the crime chief request. And the file never returned to the NAM still. So you know only he can send for file and file now return. That is what they told. Again, nothing was done. Why? Why? Because Azadin Mohammed was part of this flock. They were all together. And that is well established and well known. Well established and well known. That is what they say. But to hear the president demeaned himself, belittled himself even more when he could go and make them type of statement publicly. And I am saying, as I move to another area, I am saying that I am of the view that the statement made, let me read it back. They say Mohammed was complicit in, if not guilty in murder, kidnapping, and beating of people. I believe that is a dog whistle. I believe it is a dog whistle. Meaning that very shortly, the dogs would have heard that frequency and they would have decided to take action based on what they heard. So y'all watch the ride. Watch the ride. Let me move on because there are some other questions that I want to ask. Tell you this thing. This is not done as you like, This is not done as you like. This matter, this is a matter that should not be swept like that swept under the carpet. Never. Let me ask some more questions. And this is again, let me give. I am not a thief. I'm not an intellectual thief, so or no thief at all. So some of these questions that I'm asking here are taken directly from the post of Ronald Daniels, attorney at law. And they say, let me read the entire thing, the entire paragraph. So perhaps the following question and proposed course of action would assist the president in treating with this matter with the seriousness it deserves. And I engage here in view of the president himself saying that he's committed to presidential accountability. So tell us, Mr. President, when were the farmlands acquired? When were the farmlands acquired? What is the acreage of the farmland? Because you say it's not 150. You say it's not 150, but you have not said what is the acreage. You say it's far less than that, maybe half or so. That's what you said. And I saw, look, let me tell you, technology is a wonderful thing. I saw on social media, some people use Google Map and zoom into this thing, and whatever triangulation is the word the president has used. Whatever triangulation they use, they say that based on the measurements from the satellite with Google Maps, the plot that is displayed there is 155 acres. They say it's 100, that is what Google Map is saying. Well, what is the acreage? And don't just come with another thing to tell us about this is what it is. Show us evidence. Show us evidence. What acreage of these lands are developed? What acreage, how much you develop? When did the development of the farmland commence, inclusive of infrastructure work, example, road, electricity, water? Come and tell us, man. Tell us when all of this was done. Because I maintain, despite what the president said, he get a loan, he might have a loan for the farm itself, like the livestock and maybe even the buildings and so on. I am willing to wager big that the president did not take a loan to develop the access road and to run lights and so on into the place. I am willing to bet that. Because we stupid, but we haven't. Jagio said some of we stupid, not all the way. Not all the way. Then you talk about the phases, because this thing had to have been built in phases for the development. Tell us that. Where were the monies for the development of those lands sourced from? You say get loan. Which are the thing? Tell us, bring it and tell us. How much money you inject into the land? What documentary proof do you have for these monies? Produce same. Produce same. Did you benefit in any way in your capacity as president and as a public servant in the acquisition and development of these farmlands? That's what we want to know, man. We don't want to give you no tour there and they're going to go live. We don't want to. Where are the produce of the farm marketed? Again, if the president get a farm, let me understand this clearly. Now, if he got a farm, he got cows, he got sheep, he got goats, he got chicken, he got duck, he got fish, he got crops. But anyway, let me tell you this, knowing the culture, he also has a ready market. Because once he decide he slaughter how many cows and so on, you ain't got to find out where they're going. You ain't got to find out and who taking it off. The market is there. Like the accusation that was made against Brutus. People say they walk in the kitchen and vans and so on, they just turn up and deliver stuff that they had not even requested. Stuff they didn't even get space at store. Brutus has sent and they have to take. So I suspect that if the president has stocks and so on, somebody on behalf of the president, maybe not the president himself, somebody gonna tell him, say, hey, we got 1,000 pounds of beef coming here, collect it. They didn't request it, but they're gonna tell that, hey, we got so much pounds of chicken coming. They're gonna request. They're gonna turn up and they got to accept, hustle and find space for storage and pay the requisite cost. And then we talk about paying cost too. Many times, and this is not directed to the president, but this is some experience. Many people, they send and they give you a bill. Pay the bill. That's what the people accuse Brutus of, to pay the bill. This is not about whether beef is normally sold on the open market for $500 a pound. If I send the beef and I say the price is at $600-700 a pound, you dare not question. You gotta draw the check and send it. Draw the check and send it. And again, we come back to this whole thing, because come back to the same president benefit bill. It means that the president, once he leave office, ain't gonna pay taxes on all them things. I don't even know if you gotta pay taxes now. Maybe Mr. Jordan can advise us. We don't know if the president he get farm, whether he is required now, even before he has retired, to pay taxes on his own. He got into business. Whether he paying taxes, whether he declaring taxes, and all them type of things. Them are the thing we want to know. Them are the thing we want to know. We talk about the market, whether the markets are local, regional, security. Let me know, because this is a mega farm, perhaps the biggest farm in Guyana, at least when it comes to variety, because the whole set of livestock and other stuff he has there, right? Then he talk about the message and all them type of thing. Who is the person that send the message to you? Like you said, national security. And let me tell you this, as I try to wind down. The hypocrisy is staggering. Staggering, right? Well, again, so I'm getting it from the horse's mouth. And there's a figure of Thorn Winston, that the president is exempt from paying all taxes. The president is exempt from paying all taxes. So all this mega farm that the president has, cows, goats, perhaps the only goat he can pay taxes on is Clement the goat, one from the flock, Clement the goat. All other goat, in Linden we have Joseph the goat, that famous goat, Joseph the goat. Well, in Georgetown, we got Clement the goat. So maybe that's the only goat he's not going to pay taxes. Sheep, chickens, also other fancy chicken. This is not some of the regular chicken. Black belly sheep at that, right? And Mr. President, just in case you don't know, I used to do little small farming. I used to rear cows, black belly sheep, ducks, and all them type of things. I was a hustler, oscillating as a police to supplement my salary. Well, of course, I ain't no way in the scale that you did. Yeah, no way in the scale. So I know about black belly sheep, and the thing about black belly sheep is their productivity, because I remember I had gone to Mount Repose, I had a raise, and me and my partner, God rest the dead, Anif Bacchus, so let me invest in a couple of sheep. I buy a pair, and in quick time, that you drop in, and the thing about black belly is twins and triplets. Black belly sheep don't drop one sheep when the time comes, 2, 3, and that is the thing about black belly, in case you all know. So farming, I know a little too about farming, and that is what increases the stock rapidly because of that quick multiplication, right? So I know a little about farming too, Mr. President. I know a little bit about farming too. And there, he talk about hypocrisy, as I didn't do all of these things. And yet still, all them time, look, the PPP, they collecting money from the Mohammeds. This is a check, y'all remember this? $20 million. And this is dated 2024, when Ali was still president, 0502. Well, when Guyana right, we're not sure if the 05 is month or if the thing, in the States, the first numbers would be the month, but Guyana has got it the other way around sometime. PPPC, $20 million from Nazar Mohammed, from Mohammed Enterprise. So this is a man who you claim commit all them crime this, and you're taking money from me. You're taking money from me. Who can forget this? Let me show you all more, man. I do my little research, and I got a partner that's helped me out. Never call his name, because he tell me today, when I ask you to find this document for me, he tell me the next document he's sending to me is an invoice. So I tell you, when he sent me the invoice, when he sends me the invoice, I will forward it to a certain farmer. I will forward it to a certain farmer to take care of it. And then we discuss that this farmer is such a con man. We want money from him. We can take pay in kind, sheep and goat and cows. That's how we're going to take it in. So you had that. And again, they're talking us, I think, who can forget this? This is 2022 December, I think, 2022 December. Hold on, I'm going to read something about it here. Right? Yeah, I think this is 2022 December or 24. Sometime then, this is the police, members of the Guyana police force, lined up just before Christmas in front of, say, Mohammed Enterprise. Forget the back pay. Or forget the top up. I mean, I'm blaming them, right? But I'm saying is that when the president talks about hypocrisy, so all of this murder and kidnapping, but yet still the police been there going and collect. And hear what CJ wrote at the time. Let me read, man. Let me left up there while I read. The Caribbean Guyana Institute for Democracy is appalled that the leadership of the Guyana Police Force sent officers and ranks to line up at Mohammed's enterprise to collect money at Christmas as Christmas gift from the company. Force regulations only permit members of the force to collect gifts through the Commissioner of Police. Effectively, the Commissioner of Police authorized and sent officers and ranks of the Guyana Police Force with police vehicles and in police uniform to collect bribe. Police officers advised the Caribbean Guyana Institute for Democracy that within recent years, this unlawful practice has become a tradition. This year was most pronounced. Mohammed Enterprise is a private company. It is subject to the lawful jurisdiction of the Guyana Police Force. In the event the company, its owners, directors, and employees commit crimes or violate law, it is disgusting, it is disgraceful for the Commissioner of Police acting to approve of the officers and ranks to go to the Mohammed Enterprise with police vehicles and in their police uniform to collect money. It is the most unlawful, despicable, and lawless act committed by the Guyana Police Force. Perhaps then it was, but now you get more. The acting police commissioner, Clifton Nicken, should be held accountable for this callous and disrespect and disgraceful act. He has single-handedly caused the complete destruction of the credibility, public trust, and integrity of the Guyana Police Force. The Guyana Police Force is now a laughing stock in Guyana, the region, and the world, thanks to its failed leadership. This photograph of police officers lining up in uniform at the front door of Mohammed Enterprises inevitably conveys to the public, rightly or wrongly, an impression that the Guyana Police Force is beholden to the Mohammeds and that ranks are in the pockets of this company and its owners. This is an abomination and an insult on the rule of law in Guyana and the integrity of every member of the Guyana Police Force. One can only imagine the payout to the top brass of the force. Let me pause there. But we know the commission will take a $8.5 million from Amir Ahmad. Continue. CJ calls on the police commission to disclose to the public what he and others in the leadership of the Guyana Police Force received as payouts from the Mohammeds. Mohammed Enterprise itself should have known better than to have police officers lining up outside its doors to uplift monetary gifts, as if that is a payroll office of the Guyana Police Force. There's nothing wrong with wanting to extend goodwill to police officers at Christmas, but it should not be seen to be done in this manner. Moreover, the Guyana Police Force is currently engulfed in devastating scandals about alleged murder cover-up involving persons associated with the same company, which they have attempted to put to rest with flimsy, mendacious statements, some of which have been contradicted by facts and evidence. Here we come back to the same thing again. We come back to the same thing that I spoke about earlier. Police officers themselves have disputed these fallacious statements and malicious contentions by the Guyana Police Force. Hence, the matter is without question unresolved. They arrest a man now, so we know the matter unresolved. Which police officer who got a hefty Christmas bribe from Mohammed will arrest any principal of that company if they commit an unlawful act? Well, you can see, every time the PPP comes to power in Guyana, this type of unsavory, lawless situation emerges, with the Guyana Police Force becoming beholden and appears to be bought out by PPP business interests. Bharat Jagdeo's government was answerable to a drug kingpin, an alleged a murderous gang leader who headed the Phantom Death Squad. I alluded to that earlier too. With billions of oil wealth in hand, Bharat Jagdeo and Irfan Ali are steering Guyana down the exact road again. Corruption and racism are the PPP's kryptonite and will lead to their self-destruction again. This is a serious matter. The current police commissioner should be made to resign over this disaster and lack of ethics and good judgment. There should be an investigation into who authorized uniformed police officers to go on a line at a private company, bag in hand, to collect money. They didn't know that the Mohammed, they involved in that sort of thing then. The president didn't know then. And he was the president then. He didn't know all them things. So to come now yesterday to tell you all of this BS, all the BS that he talk about. And let me say this is the part I want to touch on. It almost missed me. President talk about blackmail. Now, and he talks about contradiction. Now tell me this, riddle me this, Mr. President. If as you proclaim that this farm, whatever size it is known to, what you say, not everybody, it's also many people. Many people. All the people around know this farm. So it is no secret. Somewhere, what are blackmailing you about? So if how can they blackmail you? Because they understand blackmail is a case where you have a secret and somebody is telling you that if you don't come up, they're going to reveal the secret. They're either demanding money or some favor or something. So you use this word blackmail, that they're attempting to blackmail you. But if, as you claim, your ownership of this farm is well known to most people, then how the blackmail you? Tell me that. How the blackmail, as I've said, is when there's some secret. Like in the case when it was alleged sometime early this year that a senior police officer had a sexual relationship with his staff, and the staff, the husband for the staff, a female staff, the husband of the staff finds something on your phone, right? Something compromising on the phone. And she said that the senior officer using this information to blackmail she. In other words, the senior officer threatened she that he can reveal it if she can continue to, according to the man will kill the man, if he can continue to get lashings, he can reveal it. That is blackmail. Because she might want to claim that she continued to fork it up or to give it up because she didn't want the thing revealed. That was a secret. But in the case of your farm, you're saying it is no secret. So if it's not a secret, what people tell us, maybe there's more to it than that. Is it that they are trying to blackmail based on what is going on the farm? Not the farm of itself, not the farm of and in itself, but what is going on the farm? Is it that? Let us know, man. Come out with the next tape. No, don't worry this tape thing. Let somebody write. Get Kit Nasty Man too. Or the one, you got a German, you had to send out to come and say that Slow is a disgraced officer who is bitter. Y'all remember that? He did come out. A man from Germany. I have to make the point. I know, based on the allegations, that he tested many little boys. So you know who bitter and who sweet. But he never tastes Slow. Slow and going in for them things. So he can't come to say Slow bitter, as he did. And I came out and I dealt with him. Him is him, or it, she, whoever that describe themselves in. You know, you remember the one, the German, the one from the Volkswagen company? That unique car with the engine at the back? Yeah. So maybe it is not the farm. You see, we just jump to conclusions. But when I analyze these things, maybe the blackmail is not about the farm. Maybe, could it be that the people have tapes of certain unsavory activities going on in the farm? I got to stress on some of these syllables, like my late partner, CC. Maybe it's the activities that are going on there. Look what they get, you know. This is not no ordinary farm. Look, let me remind y'all. Let me show y'all this. Let me show y'all this. Look at this. This is not for the cows and goats and sheep and them. Yeah, this could be an Epstein story. Maybe you got pool for going cool off. You get what look like a little barn there. You can take your drinks and all them type of thing. This is not no ordinary place. So maybe then let me jump to no hasty conclusion that the blackmail has to do with the size of the farm in and of itself. Maybe that is not it. Maybe it's what's going on there. And never forget that the president, this is the president owned to at Leonora. President owned at Leonora. And I understand the man get more properties than swan about the place. I understand that he get more property around the place. So the man is an entrepreneur. That is the French pronunciation, Mr. President. Entrepreneur. Right? Now, you say businessman. A little common breed people that say businessman. The man is an entrepreneur. Right? That is what he is. He's into business. He's alleged. We are the tape. I ain't got a tape. We are the tape with the murder in the bush. Do I have that? For the murder in the bush? But the man say, no, I don't have it here. I delete it. I just can't keep them up on the thing for too long because they allow you a certain number of videos on the platform and you've got to take off to put on. They allow you 100 short videos, right? So I'm talking about the recent murder in Cayuni when one of the people who talks, hey, this man is the front man for the president in the gold mine. That's what the man said. That's the allegation. Me and saying so. I'm just repeating the allegation that was made. I am just repeating the allegation. And folks, let me say this as I wind down.